Yesterday evening, guys, we just saw the Indiana Fever they defeated rather. It was a pretty close game, right? They defeated the Seattle Storm at the Seattle Storm's home court arena rather. And it was a very close game. Again, the game concluded with the Indiana Fever being on top. They scored 78 points, and the Seattle Storm scored 74 points. But I want to talk a little bit more. I just want to shed some light, okay? I just want to do a little highlight, put a flashlight on none other than the MVP, in my opinion, is none other than Indiana Fever's Aari McDonald. Guys, she has a 12-page paper due currently in this week where the Indiana Fever has 4 on the road games. She is currently in grad school. And again, she has a 12-page paper, an assignment, an essay due in the same week where she has to go on the road for 4 games. Again, and people were talking about how this just goes to show the issues concerning, the WNBA and its players that, a lot of them are in school. They have to do what they have to do to like make ends meet. Now, mind you, I believe Aari McDonald is 26 years old, very young, and she's married. Okay, her husband, he played college football. I'm not sure what he does. Of course, it's none of our business. But it's like the fact that like she's still pursuing her degree, her graduate degree. She's still in school pursuing knowledge, trying to perhaps maybe possibly someday make a career outside of her professional basketball career. People were like, this is why we need to pay these women much more than they are currently getting, okay? But again, shout out to Aari McDonald, okay? I'm a student. I'm also in SkillBridge, active duty military member trying to transition out of the Air Force. And it is like, it's not easy. But again, like I'm at home, I'm remote. I work remote from home pretty much. When I'm doing all my schoolwork and all my like military stuff that I still got to do, with VA claims and stuff. I have like 3 meetings this week, just like, veteran benefits and stuff that I still got to, show up for. But again, shout out to Aari McDonald. That is not easy. This woman is on the road. The Indiana Fever is on the road this week with 4 games. And she's probably just on that bus, on that plane, just typing away on her laptop to try to complete that assignment, 12-page essay. Shout out to Aari McDonald, girl, you are the MVP. That just gave me so much more like motivation to like really go hard. Okay, if she ain't got no excuse, I ain't got no excuse. We ain't got no excuse, guys. Now back to the game. So again, the game concluded with the Indiana Fever on top with 78 points. They beat the Seattle Storm, who managed to score 74 points. Okay, and that fourth and final quarter is when things got really, really close. So in the second and third quarter, the Indiana Fever just took off. They took off on the Seattle Storm. But in the first quarter, the Indiana Fever scored 17 points. The Seattle Storm scored 16 points. I said, you know what? That's just an indicator right there. It's going to be a very close game. The second quarter comes around. The Fever scored 25 points. The Storm scored 18 points. It began to slip away from them. The third quarter, Fever scored 16 points. The Storm scored 20 points. Okay, that was when it kind of got flipped. But in the fourth quarter, both teams scored 20 points. So that second quarter is where the Seattle Storm went wrong. 18 to 25 points. But in that fourth quarter, they scored 20 points each. And again, they had a chance to tie it. At the last 2 minutes of the fourth and final quarter of this game yesterday evening was just something it was a nail biter pretty much. Okay, it was like almost like it was just that exciting and thrilling. I love it. It reminds me of the other day. Okay, I only was able to watch half of it. I really want to rewatch it. When the Seattle Storm versus the LA Sparks defeated the Seattle Storm, but they went into overtime times 2. They went into overtime 2 times because of how, like, again, like they both would just match each other's fly. They would put up a 3-pointer. They would put up a 3-pointer. They hit a 2-range mid shot, a 2-point mid range shot. They hit a 2-point mid range shot. Okay, it just kept going back and forth like a tennis match. I love it. The same thing happened, somewhat similarly happened in yesterday evening's game. The Seattle Storm could have won this game in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, but they kept missing layups and they also kept just missing shots, period. Okay, their shooting efficiency, it was just not up to par as the Indiana Fever's was. That was what saved the Indiana Fever. Because again, the Seattle Storm had good looks. They had pretty good shot selection, but they weren't dropping, okay? They just wasn't dropping them. In that last 8.1 seconds, you see they get the inbound pass to Gabby Williams. And again, she's pretty good with the 3, okay? They call her the French Army knife, okay? She's half French, half black. And she goes to the 3-point line. She puts it up. Brick. That's game. That was game. And again, like it was really exciting. So again, shout out to them. I love it. Okay, it was a good, exciting, entertaining game. Now let's break down the individual player statistics. Okay, starting with the Fever, the winners. Aaliyah Boston had 16 points, 2 assists, 12 rebounds, a double-double. Kelsey Mitchell had just 9 points. Okay, that's low for her. She played for 30 minutes. Okay, to put it in perspective, she had 9 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. Natasha Howard had 21 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Sophie Cunningham had 17 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Aari McDonald had 9 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds. Okay, shout out to her. Okay, I'm sure, she had that essay on her mind. Okay, if it wasn't for that essay that was due, that 12-point essay that was due that week, she probably would have gave y'all much more. Okay. Chloe Bibby had 0 points, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. Sydney Carlson had 0 points, 0 assists, 0 rebounds, and she played for 7 minutes. Lexi Hall had 0 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, and Damaris Dantas had 6 points, 1 assist, and 0 rebounds. Now for the Seattle Storm, Ezzie McMcGraw had 8 points, 0 assists, 5 rebounds. Gabby Williams had 12 points, 5 assists, 9 rebounds. Nneka Ogwumike had 16 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Erica Wheeler, again, she used to play for the Fever. Erica Wheeler had 9 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Skylar Diggins had 13 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. Dominique Malonga had 12 points, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Tiffany Mitchell had 4 points, 0 assists, 1 rebound. Alicia Clark had 0 points, 1 assist, 1 rebound. And of course, Lexi Brown had 0, 0, 0. People have been critical of Noelle Quinn. They say, perhaps the reason why she's still in the league, even though a lot of people, not when I say a lot of people, I'm saying, just the debates that I've been in on my timeline on Twitter and my group chats, is that Noelle Quinn should be fired. They're saying, Noelle Quinn is not that good of a coach for the Seattle Storm, and that the only reason why she is still even standing is because she's the last black woman coach standing, which is crazy. Because last season it was Noelle Quinn. We had Tisha Wright, or is that her name? Yeah, Tisha Wright. I believe that's how you pronounce her. Or is it Tisha Wright of the Atlanta Dream? She was their coach. We had Teresa Weatherspoon, who was my Chicago Sky head coach. Maybe it was just those three, but yeah, it was it's sad that so many black women have found themselves, outside of the league, out of the WNBA as head coaches. And I was like, you know what, Noelle Quinn is not that good of a coach. And on that podcast that Sue Bird has, she kind of expressed how she regressed under Noelle Quinn. Breanna Stewart also has expressed, in so many words, that she also has regressed underneath Noelle Quinn's her leadership at Seattle Storm, which is why she requested that trade away from the Seattle Storm into New York Liberty. Again, Seattle got to figure it out. Again, I believe right now, these power rankings is just crazy. I think, first of all, let's just talk about Atlanta Dream. This is so random. Atlanta Dream is number 3. Last year, they was ranked number 11, 10, 12. They got into the playoffs, okay? At one point, they got into the playoffs. They were in the top 8. But throughout that season, they were ranked low. Now they're number 3. Indiana Fever is ranked number 5. I think Seattle Storm is ranked number 6. So they're still they're kind of up there. But I believe last season they were ranked number 4 or 5. Again, I would hate to see Noelle Quinn get fired, but again, the girls are saying she got to step it up because she has so much talent on that team on the Seattle Storm. And when you have other players, in a roundabout way, expressing that when they were underneath your leadership, underneath your instruction, that they regressed as players and they had to request trades away from the Seattle Storm, we have a problem. Again, shout out to Indiana Fever, they got it done, but even more so, shout out to the MVP in my eyes, to none other than Miss Aari McDonald, okay? Because she is stressed out, okay, off the court, on the court. But clearly she's not allowing that to affect getting to that bag, getting points in the paint, outside the paint, 3-point arc line, etc., etc. So again, we can all learn from Aari McDonald. Shout out to her.